fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The flash warp drive coughed, a death rattle of violet plasma that spat and crackled across the engine bay. Each shudder of the ship resonated through my skeletal structure, a bone-deep vibration that threatened to unravel my composure. I pressed my back against the cold, unforgiving bulkhead, all four hands splayed wide, seeking purchase on the shuddering metal. Gravity flickered, a cruel joke played by failing systems, and my internal stabilizers whirred in protest. Between the stars, adrift in the inky blackness, the thought of a swift, clean end held a certain appeal. But death wasn't the enemy here. Boredom was. 2 days. 2 days trapped on this drifting metal coffin with panicked engineers babbling in malignant clicks and the ever-present synthetic scent of nutrient-paced rations. I'd sooner embrace the heart of a supernova. Then he walked in. The human, he stood silhouetted in the doorway, a stark figure against the strobing emergency lights. Even amongst his kind, and I'd catalogued a fair few in my travels, he possessed an unnerving, almost predatory beauty. Broad-shouldered, powerfully built, with a beard that wasn't neatly trimmed but rather lived in. Oiled perhaps with something resinous and warm, something that evoked the scent of a forest floor after a summer rain. His skin, even in the harsh light, seemed to hold a warmth of its own. And his eyes, gods, his eyes, they glinted copper-bright beneath thick, dark lashes flecked with gold. When they locked onto mine, a jolt, unexpected and visceral, surged through me. My pulse thrummed not just in my primary heart, but in my secondary, the rhythm accelerating to a frantic beat. It was disorienting. "Outer compensators cracked," he said, his voice a low rumble, rough around the edges as if he'd swallowed stardust and gravel. Each syllable resonated, a physical sensation against my carapace. He pointed a grease-streaked hand, strong, calloused, towards the fractured drive module. The sleeve of his engineer's jumpsuit was rolled up, revealing cords of muscle that flexed with the movement. A purely observational detail, of course, but one I noted. The lead engineer, a spindly maligran named Zill, hissed, her mandibles clicking in agitation. "Who let a passenger in here? This is a restricted zone." The man ignored her, his focus entirely on the damaged drive. He strode forward, moving with a casual, assured grace that belied the chaos around him, and crouched beside the fractured module. His fingertips, surprisingly gentle, brushed the casing, feather-light, and then the air changed. It smelled of ozone, sharp and clean, overlaid with something ancient and indefinable, like the breath of a storm gathering on a forgotten world, or the sigh of a temple lost to time. A strange energy prickled against my skin. Then he winked. A fleeting, almost imperceptible movement. A flick of those copper-bright lashes, a sly curl of his lip. My fur bristled along my spine, a primal response I hadn't experienced in cycles. Heat pooled low in my abdomen, a disconcerting warmth that spread outwards. Before I could formulate a response, before I could even fully process the sensation, he stood and walked out, leaving the engineers gaping at the diagnostic scanner. "By the void," Zill whispered, her voice trembling. "He's right, it's healed." I found him again later, seeking answers, seeking something I couldn't name. I found him in the ship's hydroponic garden, a sanctuary of green and growing things amidst the cold metal. The air hung thick with the cloying sweetness of earth orchids, a scent both intoxicating and alien. He wasn't alone. 2 more men lounged beside him on a moss-covered bench, bathed in the soft glow of the grow lamps. The first was lean and sharp-featured, his fingers dancing over a holographic tome, intricate symbols swirling in the air. Cyrus, I'd learn, a scholar of dead human religions, a collector of forgotten lore. His eyes were intelligent, assessing, and held a hint of melancholy. The other, Theron. He was all shadows and smoke, a creature sculpted from darkness. His eyes were twin voids beneath a fall of ink-black hair, and his presence seemed to absorb the light around him. When he smiled, it didn't reach those eyes. It was a performance, a carefully constructed facade. "Kael of the 4 hands," Theron purred, leaning forward, his voice a silken rasp. His scent hit me then, a potent wave of incense and iron, like a blade freshly pulled from sacrificial flames. It was intoxicating, dangerous. "You've met Eligius, our humble mechanic." "Humble," I snorted, my voice steadier than I felt, attempting to regain some semblance of control. Eligius smirked, stretching his arms above his head, the fabric of his shirt straining over his broad chest. He was undeniably imposing. "You're not just passengers," I accused, my gaze sweeping over the 3 of them. "What are you really doing here?" Cyrus chuckled, snapping his hologram shut. "We're keepers, guardians. Humans call us saints, though the term is flexible." Theron's fingers brushed my wrist, a light, deliberate touch that sent sparks of electricity up my spine. "And you little alien," he murmured, his voice dangerously close to my ear, "have been noticing things, the whispers in the vents, the shadows that move when they shouldn't." My throat went dry. He was right, I had noticed. The subtle anomalies, the unsettling feeling of being watched, the faint echoes of something ancient. Eligius stood, crowding into my space until all I could smell was him, oil and hot metal, the tang of sweat, something primal and alluring. "Pray to us, Kael," he murmured, his breath ghosting over my ear. "See what happens." The ship plunged into darkness. Alarms shrieked, a cacophony of warning as the gravity failed entirely. I floated, disoriented in the black, my internal stabilizers working overtime to compensate. Then light, not the sterile utilitarian glow of emergency fluorescence, but something gold and liquid, spilling from Theron's palms as he floated beside me. It pulsed with power, with an energy that felt both terrifying and comforting. "They're here," Cyrus hissed, his voice vibrating with fear. "The ones who hunt gods." Eligius's hand found mine in the dark, calloused and sure, a grounding presence in the chaos. "Time to fight, pretty thing." Theron laughed, low and dangerous, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Or worship." The last thing I saw before the hull ripped open, before the void reached for us, was Cyrus's eyes burning like twin suns, his skin peeling away to reveal something ancient and hungry beneath, something that shouldn't exist. And then the void swallowed us whole.